look at this stuff? Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I've got 20. One day, I was helping Mom move a table out of her garage. It caught on a rack of tools that included a rusty rake that looked like it was 100 years old, and I started singing. What's that from? What are you singing? It's The Little Mermaid, Mom. Part of your world. Ha! That's funny. I want you to play that song at my funeral. God, Mom, don't say that. That's morbid. You're only 57. How does it go? I've got thingamabobs? Mom studied sculpture in college and became a high school art teacher. And when we were kids, she was always working on different art projects. Once, when I was in high school, she shouted, "Lore, get off the phone and take your pants off." Because she wanted me to model for a leg sculpture. In some ways, our house was a gallery, both of her work and of the work of the artists she loved. In other ways, our house was like a museum. Mom was loyal to the Apple brand, and we had an original Macintosh SE in our house for 25 years, along with the original iMac and the Macintosh Cube, which Mom kept because it was the only computer that was ever displayed in the Museum of Modern Art. The computer desk in the hall was decorated with a collection of all of those Think Different ads that Apple used to run, back when Apple was the underdog and nobody had heard of an iPhone yet. In the living room, we had 2 old pianos, the one my father bought Mom as an engagement present, and the heavy player piano that nobody else in Dad's family would take, and an electric keyboard from when Mom tried to trick us into learning to play using a Nintendo piano game. We even had one of those big floor keyboards, like in the movie Big, because we all loved the scene with Tom Hanks playing chopsticks. And so Mom bought us one for Christmas one year and kept it long after we left for college. Our living room also contained both a giant tennis ball that Mom won at a doubles tournament and a giant red Crayola crayon that I won in an art contest when I was 6. A kimono hanging on the wall from Dad's trip to Japan in 1992, a collection of toy dinosaurs on top of the piano, 2 of those toys made of nails that you use to make an imprint of your face, a basket of spherical objects, tops, and kendama, that Japanese ball and string toy, and a stereo cabinet that still contained every cassette tape we had ever owned, including kids' songs, the soundtracks to both Cocktail and Top Gun, and a compilation of old baseball-related recordings called Let's Play 2. On Mom's birthday, her sister called to congratulate her on making it to 58 because their father had died of brain cancer when he was just 57 years old. The same day, I took the job that brought me to San Diego. I had only been living back in Sacramento for 2 years, and Mom cried when I told her I'd be moving away again. But when I left, she kept a couch I bought on Craigslist and a $20 armchair from a local antique store. Just before I left Sacramento from San Diego, I got a message from Mom. I'll always remember where I was when I listened to that message, who I was with, where I was standing. She said that she was having weird hallucinations that involved hearing distant music, seeing the image of dancing ladies, and feeling overcome by emotion. And her sister, who was a doctor, said that she should go to urgent care. There were tests, and then there was a biopsy. And 2 months after being congratulated for outliving her father, Mom was diagnosed with the same disease that killed him, brain cancer. Surgery was impossible, and internet research told us that we would be lucky if she lived 18 months. Mom's sisters started talking about decluttering the house as soon as they got there. They reminded us that it wasn't normal to have that much stuff collected in your house, and that all that stuff would be left for us to get rid of. Each time my aunts repeated the word stuff, you could hear a little more of the words they really wanted to use. They had all mastered passive aggression during their terrible childhood with their alcoholic mother. They didn't understand that, yes, Mom had dedicated a good portion of her life to the fine art of not throwing crap away, but that seemingly useless crap, or yes, Aunt Donna, even useless shit, was the shit that Mom had saved from our happy childhood, which she had also dedicated her life to creating. It was no surprise that Mom didn't want them to change anything. Her medical leave from the school district was called terminal leave, like they couldn't be bothered to find a more sensitive name. She had to sign a medical directive, had to update her will, had to talk to us about the updated will. Terminal illness forces you to grieve in slow motion for the imagined future that you now know will never be real, for the strong and independent woman who's been reduced to the patient in a matter of weeks, for the strong and independent woman you could only pretend to be because you could rely so much on your mother. There was no reason to let go of anything else before Mom was ready. We didn't have a funeral for Mom. She had very specific wishes. She wanted her ashes to be scattered from a Folgers coffee can. Just like in The Big Lebowski, one of her favorite movies. As long as she could talk, she had a sense of humor and was quoting Monty Python, "I'm not dead yet," while lying in a hospital bed in her room. We had an art show while she was still alive. Because Mom saved everything, we could show drawings and paintings she had done in college, the pottery she had made with her students and on her own, and the entire collection of studies and paintings of white trucks that she had done when we were kids. We displayed the molds of our faces we made when we were children, and the molds of our hands pressed against our mothers. We could see this preserved plaster proof that there was a time when she took care of us, when we were the ones who needed to be bathed by her, to be fed by her, to have diapers changed by her, and not the other way around. 3 weeks after the art show, and 13 months after what Mom first called the unexpected development, my brother called to tell me it was over. And a few weeks later, the time came to clean the house. Mom had given away all of the children's books and toys in the last few months. Most of her clothes had already been packed away and donated, and her sisters had asked for many family heirlooms and pieces of furniture. But they were right. There was a lot of stuff to get rid of. Over 100 jars of cooking spices, at least 25 bottles of sunscreen dating back to the 1980s, countless containers of nails and screws of different sizes, and even a collection of weird hotel soaps accumulated by my paternal grandfather, who had been dead for 20 years, which my father did not take with him when my parents divorced. I've got this on both sides of my family. When we went through boxes of photos and papers, we realized that Mom had kept many different newspapers and magazines from January 1st, 2000, from the death of Princess Diana, from Obama's inauguration. But she had also kept everything from our childhoods. She once threatened that she had kept all of my bratty teenage notes so that she could show my kids someday. But it was so much more than that. Every report card, every letter from a teacher or school giving us praise or an award. She had our school pictures from every year, my high school and college graduation photos, photos from all 4 homecoming dances and both junior and senior proms, She kept the report I wrote in 2nd grade about the Pony Express and the autobiography I wrote in 6th grade that said I wanted to marry Mark McGuire and be president of the United States. She kept a painting that I did when I was 2 years old. She kept a Polaroid of my brother at 3 years old with a colander on top of his head on which she had written, many years later, "Think different." Mom died of brain cancer 3 days after Steve Jobs died of pancreatic cancer. I heard a song dedicated to him on the radio, and I remembered what I had to do for Mom. When we went to Malibu with the coffee can full of ashes, I brought my iPhone. And there, on the cliffs of Point Doom, I told my family about the song that, less than 2 years earlier, Mom had asked me to play at her funeral. A song, ironically, about a girl who wants to move out of the ocean and live on land. Out of the sea, wish I could be part of that world. Thank you.
That's Lauren Cusitello.